The radio crackled once, then went dead. Say again, say again. Nothing. Wind pushed against the trees, hard, loud, like something moving through them. Boots scraped against wet ground. Someone whispered, "Did you hear that?" A distant metallic sound. Not gunfire. Not vehicles. Closer now. Breathing grew faster. Equipment straps tightened. Safety clicks, one after another. "Stay together," a voice ordered, quiet, urgent. Then the compass needle spun. Once. Twice. Then it wouldn't stop. Static burst through the headset. Voices overlapping. None of them familiar. "Pull back. Wrong position. Do not proceed." Then silence again. The darkness felt heavier, like the air itself was pressing down. A shadow moved between the trees. Someone turned their flashlight on. It died instantly. Night vision up. Green light filled the world. And then, movement. Too fast. Too close. A shout. Boots running. Branches snapping. Radio screaming with static. Fall back, fall back. But no one knew which direction was back. Another voice yelled coordinates. They didn't match the map. The ground dropped suddenly. One soldier fell. Another disappeared into the darkness trying to reach him. The wind stopped. Completely. Then came the sound. A low, distant hum. Not mechanical. Not natural. And then, every radio turned on at once. All channels. All frequencies. The same message repeating. Abort, abort, abort. But the order came too late. Because when morning came, only one soldier was still alive. And according to the army, that mission never happened. So what did he walk into that night? At first, no one noticed anything was wrong. The unit was scheduled for a routine check-in at 600. No transmission came. Operations tried again. Alpha Team, report status. Silence. They switched frequencies. Nothing. By 6:30, the communications officer marked it as a delay. Weather interference, equipment failure, it happened. By 700, the command post grew quiet. No one said it out loud. But everyone was thinking the same thing. They should have heard something by now. At 7:35, a drone was launched toward the last reported coordinates. The live feed showed trees. Fog. No movement. No heat signatures. No vehicles. No personnel. The area looked empty. At 8:12, a recovery team was dispatched. They reached the site before noon. The first thing they noticed was the silence. No birds. No insects. No wind. Then they saw the ground. Boot prints. Dozens of them. Running in different directions. Some deep, as if the soldiers had been carrying weight. Others uneven, slipping, stumbling. Equipment was scattered across the area. Rucksacks. A broken radio. Night vision goggles. One rifle still set to safety, lying beside a tree. But there were no bodies. No signs of combat. No shell casings. No blast marks. No blood. It looked less like a battle, and more like something had made them run. Further inside the tree line, they found a helmet. Inside it was a headset. The battery was dead, but the transmit button was taped down, as if someone had been trying to talk. Non-stop. By 1300, the search grid expanded. Still nothing. No tracks leading out of the area. No enemy movement reported. No witnesses. At 14:45, a single figure emerged from the trees, walking slowly, stumbling, a soldier, alone. His uniform was intact, his weapon still slung, but his eyes didn't focus. He didn't respond to commands. He didn't speak. When medics reached him, they asked the only question that mattered. "Where is your team?" He looked at them, confused. Then he said something that didn't match any known report. They were there. Pause. And then they were. By that evening, the entire operation site was sealed. By the next morning, all records of the mission were removed from the unit's schedule, as if it had never existed. The incident took place during a period of quiet war. No official declaration, no major headlines, but operations were constant. Small units, remote locations, unacknowledged missions. It was the early 2000s. The conflict had shifted away from large-scale battles. Instead, military strategy focused on intelligence gathering, surveillance, and rapid response teams. Specialized units were deployed to areas where conventional forces could not operate openly. Their objectives were simple: observe, confirm, report, and if necessary, disappear without being noticed. The region where the mission occurred had recently drawn attention from military intelligence. Satellite images showed unusual activity. Temporary structures appearing and disappearing. Vehicle tracks in restricted zones. Electronic signals that didn't match known civilian or military patterns. Command believed the area might be used for unauthorized operations, possibly by armed groups, possibly by unknown actors. The mission assigned to the unit was classified as a low-visibility reconnaissance patrol. No engagement expected. No direct contact planned. Their job was to enter the area quietly, confirm the presence or absence of activity, transmit coordinates, then withdraw before daylight. The unit selected for the task had experience in exactly this kind of operation. They had completed similar patrols dozens of times. Their equipment was standard for long-range night movement. Encrypted radios, night vision systems, navigation tools with multiple redundancies. They carried no heavy weapons. Speed and silence were their protection. Command pressure was high. Recent intelligence failures had led to missed threats in nearby regions. Higher headquarters wanted confirmation quickly, but conditions in the area were not ideal. Terrain was dense. Satellite coverage was limited. Weather patterns interfered with aerial observation, and local maps were outdated. Still, the mission was approved. The timeline was tight. Insertion just after sunset. Movement through the objective area during the night. Extraction before dawn. Total time on ground, less than 10 hours. From a planning perspective, the risk level was considered moderate. From a command perspective, the operation was routine. But there was one detail that concerned the communications team. Electronic interference had been reported in the region. Short bursts, unexplained, difficult to track. It was noted in the briefing, then dismissed as environmental noise. No additional countermeasures were added. The unit deployed on schedule. Weather conditions were clear. Visibility was low but manageable. No enemy activity had been reported within a 50-kilometer radius. From command's perspective, nothing about the mission stood out, which is why what happened next would become so difficult to explain. Because when a routine operation ends with missing soldiers and no evidence of combat, the problem isn't just tactical, It becomes something else, something command structures are not designed to handle. And in this case, something they would later decide not to document at all. Staff Sergeant Daniel Mercer had been in the Army for 9 years. He wasn't the loud type, didn't chase attention, didn't talk about his deployments. But inside his unit, everyone knew one thing. If Mercer was on your team, you were safer. He believed in routine. Gear checked 3 times. Routes memorized, not just mapped. Every movement planned before the first step. He treated small missions like large ones. Because in his experience, the missions labeled routine were the ones that went wrong. Mercer led a 6-man reconnaissance element. Each soldier had a specific role: communications, navigation, security, medical support, observation. They had trained together for months. Night movement drills, silent communication, emergency regroup procedures. If separated, each man knew where to go. If radios failed, they had backup signals. If something unexpected happened, they had protocols. That was the strength of the unit. Not firepower. Discipline. Before the mission, Mercer gathered them for a final check. No long speech. Just the essentials. Stay tight. No shortcuts. If something feels wrong, we slow down. The soldiers nodded. They trusted him. Not because he promised safety, but because he never ignored danger. Privately, Mercer had one concern: the interference reports. He had seen equipment fail before. In remote terrain, communication wasn't just coordination. It was survival. Still, command had cleared the operation. And Mercer followed orders. That was the structure. That was the responsibility. Insertion went smoothly. By 2100 hours, the team was moving through the tree line. Spacing was perfect. Movement was silent. Radio checks every 15 minutes. All green. At 22:30, they reached their first observation point. No structures. No vehicles. No heat signatures. The area appeared empty. Mercer logged the report. Command acknowledged. Everything was going exactly as planned. But as they moved deeper toward the secondary grid, one of the soldiers spoke quietly over the radio. "Sergeant, compass is drifting." Mercer stopped the team. He checked his own. The needle moved slightly. Then corrected. "Probably terrain interference," he replied. They continued. Another 10 minutes. Then the radio operator reported static. Short bursts. Then clear again. Mercer slowed the pace. Spacing tightened. He didn't call command. Not yet. Because in reconnaissance work, small problems happened. The danger came when small problems happened together. By midnight, the team reached the final observation area. Still no visible activity. Still no confirmed target. Mercer prepared the withdrawal route. But before they could move, the wind picked up. Vast. Stronger than the forecast. The trees began to move. Branches scraping. Noise rising. Then the radio operator spoke again. This time, his voice was different. "Sergeant, I'm getting traffic." "From who?" Pause. "I don't recognize the call sign." Mercer took the handset. All he heard was static. Then a voice. Faint. Repeating coordinates. Coordinates that placed Mercer's team somewhere else entirely. That was the moment he realized. Something about this mission wasn't normal. After the strange transmission, Mercer ordered a full equipment check. Radios were functioning. Batteries were full. Navigation system still active. But the coordinates kept shifting. Each device showed a slightly different position. Not far, but enough to matter. Mercer marked their location manually, using terrain reference. That method didn't change, but the electronic readings continued to drift. Then came the next problem. Silence. The wind stopped. Completely. One moment the trees were moving. The next, nothing. No leaves. No insects. No distant sound. Even their own movement seemed muted. The radio operator attempted a scheduled check-in with command. No response. He tried again. Still nothing. Then static flooded the channel. Not random noise. Patterned bursts. Like multiple signals overlapping. Another soldier whispered, "Feels wrong here." Mercer agreed. But turning back early required justification. He decided to move toward the planned extraction route. Slowly, carefully. That's when the night vision systems began to flicker. Not power loss. Interference. The image would distort. Then return. Then distort again. Shapes appeared where nothing stood. Movement that vanished when looked at directly. The team tightened formation. No one spoke unless necessary. 10 minutes into movement, the rear security reported something else. Footsteps. Behind them. Matching their pace. Mercer halted the team. Everyone listened. Nothing. They moved again. The footsteps returned. Then stopped when they stopped. Mercer ordered a silent directional check. No heat signatures. No visual contact. But the feeling remained. They were not alone. The radio suddenly came alive. A clear transmission. Command's voice. Abort mission. Return immediately. Relief spread through the team. Mercer acknowledged. But then the message repeated. Same words. Same tone. Exactly the same. Again. And again. And again. The radio operator looked at Mercer. That's a loop. Mercer tried to respond. No confirmation came back. Then all frequencies opened at once. Multiple voices. Different units. Different call signs. All talking over each other. None of them from their command. Then, without warning, every signal stopped. The darkness felt heavier. And somewhere ahead, something moved. Mercer raised his hand. The team froze. Night vision swept the tree line. Nothing. Then a sound. Metal. Soft. Like equipment brushing against something. Front security check. No response. Mercer moved forward. The point man was standing still, looking into the trees. What do you see? Movement. Distance. Close. Before Mercer could ask more, the compass spun wildly. All at once. Every unit. Then the ground beneath them dipped sharply. The formation broke as two soldiers slid down a narrow slope hidden by brush. They weren't far, but the moment they separated, the radios erupted. Static. Voices. Warnings. Then one of the fallen soldiers shouted, "Something here." Mercer ordered everyone down the slope to regroup. Half the team moved. The other half circled to provide cover. That's when the night vision flickered again. And shapes appeared. Moving fast. Between trees. Too fast to track. Contact front, someone yelled. But no shots were fired. Because no one could confirm a target. Then the humming began. Low, vibrating through the ground. The air felt thick. Breathing became harder. The radio operator screamed. His headset was blasting sound at full volume. Mercer grabbed him, and the noise stopped instantly. Silence. Then one soldier ran. No order. Just panic. Another followed him. Hold position, Mercer shouted. But the darkness had changed. Distances felt wrong. The slope seemed steeper. The tree line looked different. Then a flashlight beam cut through the night. One of the soldiers had turned it on. The beam hit a figure between the trees. Standing still. Human-shaped. But not moving. The light died instantly. Total darkness. Night vision failed. One by one. Green screens fading to black. Now they could only hear. Boots moving. Branches breaking. Breathing. Not just theirs. Mercer tried to regroup the team by voice. He counted responses. 1, 2, 3. Then nothing. Someone screamed from deeper in the trees. Then the sound cut off. The humming grew louder. Then stopped. Complete silence. Mercer shouted again. No answer. He moved forward, calling names. No gear. No movement. No light. Just darkness. Then the radio came alive one last time. A calm voice. Not command. Not anyone he knew. Area secure. The transmission ended. And after that, there was nothing. When morning came, Mercer walked out alone. Mercer was taken to a medical facility immediately. Physically, he was unharmed. No injuries. No dehydration. No signs of combat. But psychologically, something was wrong. He couldn't give a timeline. Events blurred together. Hours felt like minutes. He repeated the same statement. They were there, then they were gone. Investigators questioned him for days. They cross-checked his account with recovered equipment. The findings raised more questions. All radios showed normal battery levels, but their internal logs were erased. Navigation devices had conflicting location histories. Some showed the team moving in circles. Others showed them leaving the area entirely. Night vision units had suffered electrical overload, but there was no external damage. Search teams returned to the site multiple times. They found more equipment. Boot prints. Signs of rapid movement. But again, no bodies. No evidence of enemy presence. No heat signatures had been recorded by the drone. No satellite anomalies. Then the documentation process changed. Reports were rewritten. The mission designation was removed. The operational order was archived under a different file number. Then classified. Mercer was reassigned. No formal debrief. No public record. Within 6 months, his unit roster no longer listed the missing soldiers. Officially, the operation did not exist. Unofficially, the case remained open, but only at a level Mercer would never see. Years later, a retired communications analyst would make a quiet statement. During that time period, multiple military units operating in different regions had reported similar radio interference. Overlapping voices, repeated abort signals, unknown transmissions. None of the cases were publicly connected. None were officially explained. Today, there is no official record of the mission. No public acknowledgement. No names listed as lost during that operation. For the Army, it never happened. But one soldier remembers. Mercer left the service 3 years later. He rarely spoke about his deployments, except once. When asked what he believed happened that night, he gave a simple answer. We were sent somewhere we didn't understand. Then he added something investigators had never included in their reports. The voices on the radio weren't warning us. Pause. They were already too late. No enemy was ever identified. No remains were recovered. No explanation was given for the equipment failures, or the erased logs, or the repeated abort signals that came from nowhere. In military history, there are battles, operations, losses, each one documented, recorded, remembered. But sometimes, there are missions that disappear. No records, no recognition, only silence, and one survivor, who walked out of the darkness alone. So the question remains, if the Army never recorded the mission, then who ordered it? And what did they walk into that night? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and press the bell icon for more shocking modern hidden history stories. Share your theory in the comments. The next story will be even darker.